We are on Season 1, Episode 28 of The Twilight Zone. This one's called A Nice Place to Visit. That comes from the saying, a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there, which gives you a hint about what this episode is about. And this is another one written by Charles Beaumont, who I've said before is my favorite Twilight Zone writer. He's previously written the episodes, Episode 9, Perchance to Dream, 20, Elegy, and Long Live Walter Jameson, but we haven't got to his really great episodes, like The Howling Man, Long Distance Call, and the infamous Living Doll episodes, where a doll says, "My name is Talkie Tina, and I want to kill you." So I'm always excited when I see that he's the writer of a Twilight Zone episode, and this is his best episode so far. It's everything that I like about him. It's fast-paced, it's edgy for the time, it's violent. It also has a twist that isn't as dark as Rod Serling tends to go. Rod Serling really tends to end his episodes on a negative note. Even people that don't deserve getting killed end up getting killed. Charles Beaumont doesn't really do that. He's not into moralization as much or having some crazy twist ending. It's just a great episode all the way through. So it starts with a guy, Henry Francis Valentine, and in Charles Beaumont fashion, it starts with an action scene. Awesome. This guy is a criminal. He has just robbed a pawn shop and killed the pawn shop owner. The police are chasing him. He tries to climb up this wall and gets shot by the police. Great way to kick off the episode. He then gets transported to what he thinks is heaven, which is really a bit north of his actual location, if you know what I mean. And he meets this guy by the name of Pip, and he thinks that Pip is his guardian angel. And so far, everything's going absolutely great. Henry Francis is set up as a bad guy. He does have that 60s, "Hey man, you know what you're talking about? Did you get the loot? We're gonna throw it into the van and make a quick getaway, bro." I don't think they said bro in the 60s, but you get what I'm saying. It's the only part of this episode that's a bit dated, fast-talking wise guy shtick he has going on. But he's going to change later into more of a highfalutin, rich playboy, someone who feels around nowadays would absolutely be in the Epstein Files. And Henry is played by Larry Blyden, who was in every TV show known to man in the 50s and 60s. From craft theater to the Ed Sullivan Show, an episode of Thriller, maybe a series we'll cover in the future. Harry's Girls, 12 O'Clock High, and he does a great job here. Because at first he's just portrayed as a one-dimensional, wise-talking criminal. But you can tell he has a theater background since Pip tells him that he can grant him any wish that he wants. So he takes him to this mansion that he says is now Henry's home. And will give him anything he wants. So if he wants fast cars, he does. He gets fast cars. If he wants tons of women, which he does, he gives him tons of women. And he loves gambling. That's his main vice, so he starts a gambling establishment inside of his residence. And that's where we see the more joyous Henry come about. He starts dancing around, jumping up and down, making funny jokes. And you see the versatility of this character and the actor, Larry Blyden himself. And I think the episode gets way better as it goes on, and he gets away from just his wise-talking, poor criminal persona. But he still is the antagonist. As much as he's the main character, this guy doesn't care about anyone and wants all the material possessions given to him. This entire time, I was thinking, why is Pip giving him all this stuff? Is he supposed to be in hell? Because if this is hell, this is an amazing hell. He's obviously not in heaven, because he did so many bad things on Earth. So it's messing with the viewer. It's basically having a guy who doesn't deserve any of this stuff get everything he wants. And I think it's an interesting twist on the premise of someone who actually deserves it getting a few wishes. Now we have a guy who doesn't deserve it. And because Charles Beaumont isn't as much of a moralist, he's willing to have this amoral character at least have fun for a little while. And this episode doesn't seem dated at all. It pushes the limits of what they were able to do on television, since he gets all these women and they're definitely dressed skimpy, especially for the 60s. There's even a part where they're obviously having a threesome and he looks in the room and the girls are messing around with each other. Because of course in this fantasy world he's created, why wouldn't he make them bisexual? And he kind of smirks at the camera and laughs at them. "What's going on in there?" It's like, yeah, they're obviously naked. So it's pretty edgy and violent, but it's also just a joy to look at. I can imagine when this script was handed in to the production company, it gave them a headache, because this is obviously an expensive episode. There's tons of extras. He gets cars, he gets girls, he gets gambling establishments, he gets a mansion. There's even a part where Pip takes him to the Hall of Records, since Henry's still trying to figure out why is he in this amazing heaven. And when he starts reading his record, it's nothing but negative stuff. You tortured animals, you killed someone, you robbed someone. And Henry gets a little annoyed at Pip, because he's like, this is my whole record, just bad stuff I've done? Why am I in heaven if it's just all my whole records is all the negative stuff I've done? And he's sitting there trying to think about what are some good things that he's done, and he can't think of anything, which is bad. Even if you're a criminal, you should be able to be like, well, I technically went to my kid's baseball game. He can't think of anything. So after living this paradise for a month, Henry begins to feel his old ways coming back to him. He gets anything he wants, but so far he's just been living like an irresponsible millionaire's son. He misses the robberies. He misses the killings. And so he mentions this to Pip, and Pip tells him that they can actually set up a robbery if he wants to. If he wants to go rob the bank down the road, he can set that up. But Henry's just not satisfied with this. He needs the thrill of getting caught, and this perfect world is starting to really annoy him. I guess if there was any moral to the story, it would be if everything was perfect, you'd be bored. Personally, I think this doesn't make any sense. I guess if you love robbing and shooting people, you might miss doing that, but I don't know. I think I could survive in a giant mansion with all the free food and drinks and friends and maybe even women. I mean, I would just choose one. Okay, maybe two, maybe three. He chooses like 10. It's a commentary. It doesn't exactly make sense, but it also isn't too heavy-handed. And I think it's trying to say, well, this guy's a bad guy to begin with, so he's not going to just want everything to be perfect. He likes having people suffer. Also, maybe Pip should just give him like a PS5 or something. He could just chill out a little bit. He is doing a little too much partying. And of course, it gets revealed that he actually is in hell. He's not in heaven. Is this a unique twist on hell? Of course it is, but it's such a fun episode. I love this episode. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It has everything I like in it, and the acting is absolutely top-notch. Pip as the guardian angel is played by Sebastian Kamat, who was the narrator of the 63 film Sword in the Stone. Actually, the Panther in the Jungle Book, and his voice is very pleasant, and he plays this role perfectly. He gives him whatever he wants, but he never tells him he's in hell until the very end, and you can see he's smirking and laughing through these scenes, knowing that eventually he's going to actually hate this lifestyle. He's going to get bored of it. He's going to want some more actual violence. And once he realizes he's in hell, there's probably going to be some ramifications down the road that he's not ready to deal with. Pip also hints that this house that he's in is a bit of a prison. He's able to leave it and go to the Hall of Records when Pip is beside him, but it does seem like they're implying that he might not be able to just walk around hell whenever he wants to. I'm not sure you'd want to do that anyways, but the places they've portrayed so far seem pretty awesome. So it's a unique twist on hell. The moral, I think, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but when you consider this guy's a bad guy, it makes a little more sense, and it's just a fun visual feast of an episode. Certain scenes could probably pass off as porn in 1960, so that's an added bonus. And some fun trivia about this episode. At the top says Mickey Rooney was the first choice to play Valentine, a criminal. In a memo to Rod Serling, Beaumont suggested should Rooney not be available that Serling himself should consider playing the part. Serling declined and Rooney ended up being unavailable. I'm actually not sure if Rod Serling ever acted in any of these episodes. I guess we'll see. I haven't seen them all. But I can't imagine he would do a good job playing this character. As I mentioned in the review, this is a very hard character to play. He goes from a criminal to a playboy. He's dancing, he's laughing, he's being scary at the end, he's pointing guns at people. You have to basically do every type of character in one, like how it says in the middle. A Nice Place to Visit was also singled out for its brazen sexual innuendo. Yeah, I figured it would be. Program practices requested that Valentine not refer to a girl as a broad, really stacked. Yeah, he does do that. He's referring to her breasts. And she was stacked, so correct. Even though the crudity was essential to establishing the unsavory qualities of the character. And it says, nor could the protagonist refer to the party as a ball, since that word had more than one meaning. In another Nice Place sequence, a voluptuous young lady tends to Blyden's every need, then says, "Is there anything else I can do for you?" Apparently the network said, "Please be certain that the girl's third speech be delivered in a sweet manner as described." I was surprised I didn't mention the threesome part. That go over people's heads? That was blatantly obvious. They're literally messing around with each other. He's looking at it. And of course at the bottom, the slot machine seen in the episode is the same one used in The Fever. Man, do they like reusing this slot machine. They've used it several times now. That and props from Forbidden Planet. And the steps that are used in this scene, where they go into the Hall of Records and read his record about all the good things he did. Well, it was empty. It was all the bad things he did. Were the same ones used in Time Enough at Last, where he's climbing up the staircase to get to this library that's been blown up. Well, that episode was great. Is the next one going to be just as good? Tune in a few days to find out. It's episode 29, Nightmare as a Child, where just like The Shining, a little girl appears and disappears. And check out our playlist for the other series that we've covered. We're currently doing Black Mirror, Mystery Science Theater, 3000, Twilight Zone, Are You Afraid of the Dark, every single episode, and American Horror Story. Thanks a lot.